Actually, let me just take you back to our top story a minute now. The family have testified before Congress about what they went through with drone strikes. Their grandmother was killed. The family's lawyer, who was supposed to speak to lawmakers at that meeting, was denied a US visa. Again, as we were saying earlier on, so few people turned up in Congress to listen. This must have been a disappointment for the family as well. Their lawyers weren't allowed into America. Let's talk to him, though. Shahzad Akbar is joining us now live. Sir, we're ever so grateful that you're on the line there. Why do you think you were denied entry to the United States?
Well, thank you for having me. I think the reason is very obvious. The reason is my criticism of US drone program in Pakistan and the legal action I've brought since 2010 against CIA officials acting in Pakistan and against Pakistani government. And the congressional briefing was one occasion where the clients I'm representing would have a voice to speak to American lawmakers who would also challenge President Obama's contention that drone strikes are very precise and they only hit militants, which is not true. Rafiq and his family is one living example of that, who were before congressmen today, and there are hundreds of such people who are being represented by our organization, and I would have spoken on their behalf, but unfortunately US government denied me visa once again.
So what was the point of this briefing? It begs that huge question, doesn't it, the big elephant in the room here. You're very much entitled to your opinion, surely, but you weren't allowed to have that opinion, to say what you thought. So what was the point of the whole thing?
Well, the point of this whole hearing was that the American public actually need to know the alternate facts which are from ground. That when President Obama speaks to them about drone strikes, that they are only targeting militants. That's not true, because the drone strikes in Pakistan have been hitting a huge number of civilian population. There are drone strikes which are problematic, like the signature strikes or the rescue strikes, and then those strikes which are targeting women and children, like the family which is visiting US. And I think these facts were important, and this was a good forum for the people of Waziristan to put forth their case, so that larger American public can understand what their government is doing on their name with their tax money they're getting. And the important point here is that if you look, there's a new survey which has come out today which talks about that American public, a large number of American public are now against drone strikes if they are targeting civilians. And that is the important point which needs to be told to Americans, because it is very clear that the US does not care about international law, and the argument being put forth on international law issue is not going to be heard. But when we bring in the civilian damage and a huge number of civilians who are being killed, that will actually bring the point home, and hopefully this whole madness will stop in Pakistan.
Well, we've got you on the line now, Shahzad. In one of your previous interviews, you talked about North Waziristan next to the Afghan border. You called it a concentration camp. Why do you use those terms?
Well, it's a concentration camp in a sense that the area has been completely cordoned off. No one can go in and come out of Waziristan easily. The people of Waziristan are just left to be there living under drones. And there's nothing which can get them out, and they're living under drones which are hovering over their head all the time. And then there's a huge presence of Pakistani military. So 450,000 population of whole North Waziristan is actually living in a concentration camp, where they are being picked on the basis of what kind of clothes they wear, if someone has long beard, or someone is driving an SUV. And this is how they're being targeted, and at the same time they're not really in a position to leave the area either.
Just a final thought while you're on the line there. We heard very few members of Congress turned up, only a couple today. Are you disappointed by that? And anyway, what do you think about today's briefing? Do you think it's going to have any impact on US drone policy? I mean, it's given publicity. We're covering it. I'm sure other newsletters are covering it as well. But is it going to have any hard reality check here? Is it going to do anything? Briefly, please.
Sorry, I did not hear your question.
The briefing today, not many Congress representatives turned up. Is it going to have any impact on US drone policy? Briefly.
there's a hope that it might actually have an impact on U.S. drone policy because the lawmakers are being informed. But obviously, we cannot say anything for certainty that President Obama is going to listen to some saner voices. But I think we are very hopeful that it would have some impact.
All right. Thanks ever so much for your time. Shahzad Akbar there joining us on the line.